Hello. Homeschoolers really be lying. They really be lying. And I think the reason they lie about this in the homeschool socialization, let me just tell you what this is. Socialization, socializing, friendships. In the homeschool community, before you become a homeschooler, they're like, socialization is so easy. You just do this, and do that. That is like a partial truth, okay? Because yes, as a homeschooler, it is very easy to find other children for your children to socialize with. That is going to the park, having neighbors, right? Chatting. But there's a difference between socialization and making friendships. And once your child gets to be like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and above, they're going to want some friendships. And this is something that's kind of hidden in the homeschool community, I guess outside of the community. But once you get in and you're in all the Facebook groups, it seems like every other post is someone talking about how unhappy their child is because they don't have any friends. And so we need to talk about this, because this year I have learned something new, and I feel like I learn something new every year when I'm homeschooling, and I have learned a much better way to not socialize, but have my children make friends than what the homeschool community generally says. So I think I have 3 ways. Number 1, the homeschool community says, put your child into sports lessons. That way they'll make friends. They'll be able to chat with other kids. Sports lessons do not make friends. My children have been in so many sports lessons. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen it in my stories. They've been in tennis, they've been in volleyball, they did all the sports lessons, and they made not one friend. Why is that? Because sports lessons last a short period of time and then they're over. Okay? And you may not see those kids ever again unless you as the parent make an effort. And who wants to make an effort like that these days? I don't think most people do. What's much better, a better alternative, is sports teams, leagues, dance squads, gymnastics teams. These are things where your children will be seeing the same people year after year, month after month after month. My children have made friends, have formed friendships in their dance team, on their basketball team. Okay, so I no longer even do lessons anymore. On their swim team is a little bit different for us, but swim team, not swim lessons. So that's one thing. If your children are in lessons and you're following the advice of all these people to put your kids in all of this stuff, you don't need to do all that. Just put them in 1 or 2 sports that they're going to stay with for the long term. Right? Okay. The other thing that people say is your children are going to make friends at the park. How are your children going to make friends at the park? Here's the problem with that. Yes, children can socialize at the park for sure. Great for socialization, just like the playground or at recess. But the problem is when you homeschool, making friends is not the same at school. So when you homeschool, you have to be friends with that other child's parent, right? Your child meets someone at the park. You guys will have to exchange numbers. You'll have to chit chat like, hey, do you want to meet here? Do you want to do this? Who wants to do all that? Certainly not me, okay? A better idea is to send your child or go to church with your child, or whatever your religious affiliation may be, or if you're not a religious person, something that you're involved in that's like a group thing that involves children. So for my purposes, that is church. It's a much better way to find people who, number 1, share your values. Because my kids have met a lot of different kids at the playground and parks, and not one of them has become their friends. When I do exchange numbers with people, I later find out that they're crazy. And then all of a sudden, your children never get to see those children again because you didn't know their mama or daddy was crazy, okay? Or maybe not crazy, but they just did not fit with your values. Maybe they're just annoying. Church is a better option for me because 1, your child is going to stay at that church or religious organization as they grow up. And so they're going to grow up with that same group of friends. Number 2, there's nothing extra I need to do. My kids make friends at Sunday school. When are we going to hang out? Next Sundays when y'all gonna hang out, okay? There's nothing else I have to do. When are we going to get to do something fun? You guys are going to go to vacation Bible school together, so you're certainly going to see each other. There's nothing extra on my part, and they stay friends as they grow up. And if that person is there routinely, then you know their values really align with your values. Here's another little trick, because I know that it can be hard to get to church or your religious organization, especially when you have children. My mom used to just send us. She would send us in Sunday school and she would sit outside because she did not have the energy or time to get herself ready after getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids ready. And so she would just send us in. And so you don't necessarily have to go yourself. You can just, hi, they're here for Sunday school, sign them up, and then you go sit in your car and have a breather for the next 90 minutes, okay? So instead of doing the park, go ahead and do church or another organization, okay? And then the third thing is, people often say you will meet other people at co-ops. Now, this is true. Co-ops, schools, if you're not familiar with homeschooling, I'm not sure why you're watching this, maybe you just follow me for other reasons, but so a co-op or a homeschooled meetup group, they kind of differ depending on what state you're in and what area, but basically you can send your child to a homeschool school, okay? That could be at a library, it could be at an actual place, a tutoring center, someplace that somebody rents, it could be someone's home. Okay, when you do that, yes, your child will be interacting with other children, but it will kind of be like school in that you don't really know, again, who those other parents or kids are. And so there's a chance that your child could not make any friends. And there could also be no one there that you kind of vibe with. So you saw on this channel that my children went to a Korean, I guess I would call it a co-op, when we were in California. And not because it was Korean, but I think because those parents are all like-minded, right? They are Korean American people who want their children to be homeschooled to get their culture. And I think most of them were religious too. I'm not 100% sure, but that is what they had in common. I don't have anything in common with being Korean and wanting my children to like learn Korean stuff. So if there were other Korean events or things like that outside of the school, I wasn't that interested in going. And also because I was not from that area in California, I just didn't vibe right with the people. So none of the homeschool groups in that area of California where we were in, I didn't vibe with any of those people. Now that we are back here in Maryland, I guess you kind of know what you know, right? So if someone says I'm from this area or that area, I know what their values are going to be, but also it's more than values. I guess their culture. It has nothing to do with race or religion. It's just like the culture of our town. Like, I know the types of things you're going to want to do. We know what's around here. So if we say like, hey, let's go take our kids to this park, we all most likely grew up going to that park, and so that is going to be something that I'm going to want to do. So my point is, now that we're here at this particular co-op that you saw in, I'll link the video after this live, there are just more parents and kids that I vibe with. And it's important that you also like the kids, because you're going to be around them a lot of the time. Again, it's not like school where your child can have whomever best friend and you don't have to care. You don't even have to know that child. When you're homeschooled, that child is either going to be at your home, you're going to be driving them somewhere, right? Or you guys are going to be meeting up somewhere. So you're going to also have to stand the child. So those are the 3 things that pop up into my mind of things that you can do rather than just listen to people saying, oh yeah, just take your kids here and they'll naturally find friends. No, they won't. They're not going to naturally find friends. Okay, I take that back. Kids do naturally make friends, but it's going to be up to you to keep up with those friendships, and that is not realistic to do when you meet someone at a park or at a pond, or when you meet people at a co-op that you don't necessarily want to stay at long term. So those are my suggestions to all the people in the Facebook groups like, my child doesn't have any friends. I hear you. You might think about looking in other places where that are really more vibe with you and who you are, rather than trying to just go out to where children are. Final thought would be, instead of going to homeschool meetups, go to places that you like. So, for example, I like horseback riding, going to museums, going to like outdoorsy places. So that's where I take my children. And so if I meet other people there, I know, oh, okay, hi, you like the same things I do. It will be easy to meet up with you to go to a hike or go to like some museum opening. And those people who are my age also have children. And it is okay for your children to be friends with children who are in school. Most of my children's friends are not homeschooled, believe it or not, because they have friends from dance, they have friends from basketball who go to the local schools around here. And that's fine. And so when you meet other adults and they have kids your age, that's a win for you because your kids will be friends. One of my closest friends is the child of a mom that my mom met when we were like 3. Now we didn't meet at dance, but we didn't stay at dance because it's very expensive. Actually there's like a group of like 3 of us. We didn't meet in schools. We didn't go to the same schools. So keep that in mind. All right, I am going to take a look at you all's comments after I close this video, but I wanted to say hello and get that off of my mind because I just keep seeing it everywhere with these unhappy children and no one giving people the real advice as to where to actually find friends for your child, and that it actually does matter because your child will be very unhappy and they're going to keep asking you, I don't have any friends, when are we going to go see this friend or that friend? Yes, my kids have cousins who are homeschooled. They are with them right now. And so that is a big plus. And that is one way that they stay happy. But they also do want friends who are not their cousins, especially as they get older. So I hope those suggestions have helped. Bye-bye.